And well, now let's jump to the next step, which is painting the hair or the fur, which is, as you know, white. I started with this gray stone and I'm applying it in a texture pattern by creating dots. To do that, I use a medium high dilution, maybe 50% of water, something like this, maybe a bit less, depending on the color you are using, depending on the temperature of your country. But the idea is to apply these first layers almost in all the part of the figure that is going to be painted in white, obviously, to create the texture. And now by adding more and more white to the mix, I'm creating the lights. So applying them always like a texture, for example, in the parts of the beard, some kind of beard, or the hair in the chest, I'm brush stroking, creating lines, as you see. In the areas of the belly, I'm creating the dots. So I'm creating texture, at the same time I'm applying the lights. And as you see, I apply a wash once again to make the gaps darker. And now I jump to another combo of color, which is the steel gray, which is a bluish gray, plus white, to create the first true first lights of the white areas. I do that because the blue is the complementary color of orange, so it will create a lot of contrast in between them, which is something very interesting in this part of the figure, which is the head, obviously. And also because it has more luminosity than a neutral gray or a brownish gray. So I think it was a good idea. So I'm repeating the pattern of the texture, but I'm taking advantage of the previous layer, and as you see, I'm keeping it in the darker areas. So the work that we have done is not wasted, it's still useful for us. So just applying this kind of bluish gray stones, we are generating more light, and adding more and more white in the following layers, we create the lights in the different parts of the figure. Remember that I'm stroking in dots in the areas of the belly, brush stroking in lines in the areas of the hair, trying to follow in always the shapes of the different parts to create the different volumes and texture at the same time. Remember that as you advance in your painting process, you have to cover less and less area to make the volume, keeping the previous parts without painting them, without covering them. Well, remember that if you like what I'm doing, you can support me by subscribing to the YouTube channel and giving me a thumbs up in the video if you like it, but also by subscribing to the Patreon. For only €3 per month, you will receive exclusive videos about different topics like fundamentals of painting, different techniques, exclusive processes, and you will be updated with my latest works, step-by-step pictures from my current works. You can ask me any doubt, of course, in the Patreon, also in the YouTube as well, and you will receive exclusive discounts on different shops. So I think it's worthly for you for only those €3, and you will help me a lot to still continue creating content in the different media formats, and help me to grow even more this community that we are creating around this project. Leave you with the video. Thank you for watching, and bye bye. Let's go now with the black ink from Scale 75 that we are going to use to recover the black tonality in the black areas of the skin, because I painted them in the brown tone, as you remember, and I changed my idea from brown tones to blue tones, which at the end is the color that is in the skin. So using the ocean blue and black ink from Scale 75, I'm doing more or less the same idea, the same process that I have done in the white. I'm creating the volumes, the lights, by applying texture, as you see, pointing it, making small dots with a medium high dilution, making the different layers to mixing between them, because the transparency of each layer will cover part of the previous one, or the dots matches each other, making a more luminous dot. And also I'm applying brights, which is the natural bright of the fur or of the hair, in the lower part of the pec, for example, as you see, by pointing or making very thin lines in those exposed areas. This is something similar to a non-metallic metal, we can say. It is a similar idea on how it works, obviously not the same, but it adds an interesting effect on the fur, like this one in the lower part of the arm, simulating that it is reflecting the light in these parts of the hair. And adding more steel gray to the mix, I'm adding more lights. Try not to be excessive because it is black fur, so you don't need to reach white or pure white.